Hello everyone, Rachel here. And today I want to tell you why I hate resilience. Who embodies resilience? Resilience is often seen in those who acknowledge their vulnerabilities, yet refuse to let them define their actions. Instead of being immobilized by challenges, they adapt, bending without breaking, navigating through adversity with determination. However, there's a delicate balance to strike, as resilience can sometimes lead to passive acceptance of unjust corporate policies. Does it sound familiar? If you're tired of being told to simply accept things as they are, you know what I am talking about. Let me share a story about how the gaming community taught the world a powerful lesson about resilience. Picture this: Sony, in a move that struck more as tyranny than governance, took it upon themselves to enhance player safety in a way that shakes the very core of our gaming freedoms. They mandated that all PC gamers must link their Steam accounts to a PlayStation Network account. This directive might seem like a small hurdle at first glance, but dig a little deeper, and you'll find a jarring disregard for regional availability. If PSN isn't accessible where you live, Sony's cold response essentially boils down to, deal with it yourself. Picture this: you're locked out of your own home because someone else decided to change the locks without telling you. The feeling of helplessness that would follow isn't just frustrating, it's outright infuriating. Did the gaming community resiliently accept? Bending down and getting up again, potentially infinitely? Nope. The backlash from the gaming community was both swift and severe. This wasn't just grumbling on forums, it was a full-on revolt. Gamers across the globe rallied to push back against what they saw as an unfair and, frankly, unnecessary imposition. And Sony had to backtrack on their policy. Why did this happen? It boils down to two things: timing and communication. Sony's flip-flop on account linking, initially lifted to alleviate server strain at launch, then reinstated, was a strategy executed with all the grace of a bull in a Chinese porcelain shop. If Sony had been upfront or consistent from the start, perhaps the community reaction would have been more muted. But by pulling the rug out from under players, they sparked a firestorm. This debacle shines a glaring spotlight on a broader issue: the often misunderstood concept of resilience. Applied to metals, resilience refers primarily to the ability of materials to resist shocks and pressures from the external environment, remaining themselves and not undergoing breakage caused by forces produced elsewhere. It therefore makes essential reference to two dynamics, mutually mediated. Resilient is the body which A, elastically does not break in the face of an impact, and which B, returns to assume, after the impact, its own initial form. A fundamental feature of our concept emerges. It primarily expresses not so much a biunivocal relationship between a subject and an object, as happens with the notion of resistance, but rather a relationship of a subject with itself, specifically referring to the subject's ability to remain faithful to itself. In the corporate glossary, resilience seems to be taken from metals to mean enduring whatever is thrown at you without complaint. And in the case of Helldivers 2, the vibrant, engaged community of gamers fought back and taught the world a lesson: that resilience sucks, and sometimes the measure is full, and it is time to stand tall and push back when boundaries are crossed. By forcing players to navigate a maze of outdated and regionally restrictive policies, Sony wasn't just testing patience. They were inadvertently rallying a community to defend their rights. This scenario isn't unique to gaming. It reflects a growing discontent in our world, where people are increasingly expected to conform to convoluted terms that serve corporate interests more than their needs. Not to mention that the insistence on linking accounts touches on deeper, darker waters of data privacy and consumer autonomy. Why do companies like Sony push for such policies? Often, it's not just about improving services, but about tightening grips on user data and behaviors, valuable currency in the digital age. So once again, when gamers, or any group of people, are pushed too far, their resilience should morph into resistance. And this resistance can catalyze change, challenging corporations to reconsider their strategies and realign with the interests of their communities. This moment should be remembered as the day when the gaming community imparted a valuable lesson to the world: the importance of recognizing when to fight back and advocate for fairness and justice. In the words of the great master Aristotle, it's about knowing how to untie the knot, as ignoring it only tightens the bind. Thanks for watching. Before you leave, don't forget to hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Happy mindful gaming. See you next time.